Sí, hola. Hey, hi, everybody. Thank you for hosting this series of interview, and I'm very happy to meet with our Mexican fans. Mexico was the first country I visited when I joined Nagra in 2001,
Hmm.
and I was then in charge of the recorders, and I participated in a television and music show in Mexico, and was a very good memory of many nice people I met there. So I'm happy to join you. I've been in Nagra for almost 20 years. I'm in charge of the audio division, which is the hi-fi equipment as well as the professional recorders. Personally, I'm a sound engineer by training, and I've studied electronics as well. And I'm a musician, so I'm deeply involved in music.
Okay, great. I think we are all in this business because our passion for music. And okay, you told us you've been for 20 years in the company. And could you share us, please, your most exciting moment at Nagra?
Oh yeah, I have many. I was lucky. I had many. I think it's a business where people are driven by passion, whereas they are customers or industry people or journalists. And I think we are very lucky to be there for passion. It really changes everything. But I think my most important or moving moment when I joined Nagra was to learn that we were sponsoring the Montreux Jazz Festival, which is one of the biggest music festival in Switzerland and one of the most famous in the world. And I had the chance to record Herbie Hancock, and my boss then said, "Okay, you have to meet Herbie tonight to talk to him and show him the recorders." And to have him listen to what we've been recording and see if he likes it. And so for me, it was very, very intimidating, but because I was like 26. But Mr. Hancock was such a gentleman and a kind person. So I was really blessed to meet him and spend maybe half an hour discussing. So it was really a very, very special moment for me.
Oh, that's great. Harry Hancock is a very great musician and he's been in the business for many, many years.
Mm. And
His
great
legacy.
person, very humble and simple person. Like most of the great jazz musicians are like that, really.
Yeah, thank you. I have another question for you. And what makes your brand stand out from the rest? And what added value do we get when we buy a Nagra?
Well, I think what's unique with Nagra is that Nagra, actually, maybe I should give you a bit of background on the name of the company and what it is. Nagra is a Polish word that means it's recording, because our founder was an inventor, and he made the first portable recorder, and he called it simply Nagra because it was recording. And so Nagra is really a company that started with an invention that was the portable recorder. That something meant you could go anywhere, record music with very high quality or people or events, and you didn't have to be just in a studio environment. And being part of the recording side and the music side of the business really gives us some kind of, I would say, expectation, a very high level and standard of expectation of what the sound is, because we every day experiment the sound of musician, the sound of artist, the sound of the voice also. And this is really in the DNA of the company to record as faithfully as possible, as transparent as possible, because when you design a recorder, you don't really want the recorder to add any flavor or any taste to the song. You just really want to have to capture the emotion of the moment. And I think the hi-fi equipment we design is unique in that sense that we just want to play back that emotion. It's like capturing the emotion, the mood of the moment, and convey it up to the listener home, and just trying to be honest and faithful to that original sound and emotion. And it's not as easy to do as easy to explain it, um, because to do some very transparent and very invisible recorders or playback equipment is not that easy in terms of design. But I think it's important for the respect of the artist and the people that do the music. We just really want to be in between, but at the end, just forget about the equipment. It's just about bringing you back to this live concert or studio to hear the music.
Yeah, I was lucky to be at your show in Munich last year in the sessions of the Masters, and we were listening to many tapes through Nagra machines, and it was great. It was impressive. The sound was so natural.
Thank you.
And I could see that what you're saying. And now that you mentioned that about the machines, the tape recorders, do you have any plans in the future to build them again? Since it's back?
Yeah, we have, of course, many requests to do so, and we receive a lot of requests to maintain the recorder as well. People that are lucky to own a recorder. So maybe the first thing is that if you have a Nagra recorder, basically we can still service almost all of them, maybe up to the Nagra 4, which was released in the early 60s. And you can contact us and we can just make it play again, change the parts that need to be changed. And it will work like when it was new, basically. If we want to do new ones, I wish we could do it more easily, but it's not that easy, actually. I want to make maybe an example with the NASA. You know that the NASA wants to send people over to the moon again. And actually, even with today's technology, they say it will take 10 years to be able to do that again, even if it was made in 69. And for Nagra, probably it's easier to do a recorder and to go to the moon, of course. But still, there are some technical challenges because there were methods or tools to make some parts like the recording heads that were very special for Nagra, because Nagra was doing everything in-house. And there was some people also that had the know-how to do those parts that they retire or they change company. And so the knowledge to do a recorder is somehow is partially here, but not entirely. So right now we are actually running some experimentation to try to find also replacing parts for the units that are in the field. And this knowledge will help us to say, okay, can we find new heads? Can we find new kind of bells, or can we rebuild them? And then maybe when we have all these answers, we can just say, oh, okay, we have actually all the different parts now, let's put them all together. But it's not as simple as it may seem, even though we were in this industry for so many years. But I'm sure that would be a fantastic success because tape is so hot right now. Yeah. And so I hope to give you a positive answer in the near future, but right now I can't really say more.
Behind me, you can see we have a set of the classic Nagra machines, and there
beautiful.
We have a Studer.
Yeah, nice.
A10.
Swiss design as well.
Great.
Great. I think you have a Synergy as well.
Yeah, a Synergy and radio speakers.
Good. Nice setup.
So I wanted to ask you also, what was your first experience with high-end, and how did it change your life or your way to listen to music?
Do you mean globally in life, hi-fi, or you really mean like the top-end systems and?
Like your first top-end system
Okay.
listening.
Okay. I think to me, so as a kid, I was always doing some recordings. My father had a quarter-inch tape from Sony that he bought in Japan and brought back to Europe. And I had also a DAT machine I used for recordings when I was like 20. And I loved my DAT machine because there was no noise, you know. And I thought that was sounding good, but I was wrong. Because the first time I was lucky to join uh, a school in France for sound engineering. And the first day I was in the music studio and I listened to a down mix I was doing. We had a DAT machine, but a studio professional one, which was sounding very well. And then the teacher said, okay, let's record this one on this quarter-inch from Otori with the Omega track, tape track. And I was just blown away because that was far beyond the DAT machine that we had. And that was playback on huge tannoy monitors we had in the studio with very good analog console. And for me was really kind of a, baptism in sound. And only later on I had the chance to record with Nagra, because then you had to be in the school for like 6 months before you finally had the authorization to use the Nagra. And first you had to study the schematics to make sure you knew how they work, and then you had the right to play with them. And that was really nice, very nice. So that was not a playback from a hi-fi system. That was more like a monitor system, but the analog experience was really, for me, a revelation.
And still does. The analog is, I mean, to me, it's a very good format to listen to, even though there are very good new DACs like yours, the HD DAC. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, the comparison was huge because the DAT machine I had was like semi-professional and was not the top of the digital of that time. But I agree with you. Analog was probably in advance, opposite to the marketing discussion and what you read in the CD that you bought. You know, like this is the best sound, and that was really just marketing. Of course, a good analog machine that's playing a good tape, because you also need to have the right tape formula, and there are many different sounds in the tapes as well. But if you have the right playback machine and the right tape, it's just magic.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. I wanted to mention also that very few brands transmit the passion behind the product or a feeling of proud of ownership. For example, Leica in photography, Rolex, Tiffany. And I have to put on that list Nagra. When you open a box of Nagra, would you find all sorts of goodies and amenities? I was impressed when we opened our Nagras at the showroom, that there are satin gloves in light gray with a very nice bag, and everything you need to install and to carry your machines to the place they are going to be. That's a very nice feeling you have when you open a box of Nagra. It's you really feel proud of owning one of these machines.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's a very nice experience. I hope some of our viewers have experienced that. And I wanted to comment also that listening to music in the 16th century was a luxury. Only kings and lords were able to have musicians at their places and villas. And today we think of music as occupying an intellectual and a physical space very different from that visual arts. And because music is so widely available to us, we do not associate with luxury. In the Renaissance, however, music was employed alongside other forms of displays to articulate political and social ascendance to create a religious aura. Music was a crucial component of the splendor in the Renaissance in Europe. Adding magnificence to urban music was a crucial component of splendor in Europe. So, in this way, I wanted to ask you if you consider high-end audio as a luxury item, and if yes, how we can transmit to potential customers and music lovers that high-end is more of an experience other than owning a luxury item. Where is the borderline between the luxury and quality?
Oh, it's a very wide and interesting subject. It's funny because it's kind of an argument I had with one of my friends, which is a journalist in the hi-fi business, that I was claiming to him that we don't perceive ourselves as a luxury item company, even though doing uncompromised design with very ambitious specifications, and then also using expensive materials, expensive components sourced from anywhere on the planet just because they're the best component we need. Being in Switzerland as well, you mentioned Rolex, and Rolex is very iconic as a Swiss brand. Of course, when you put all that together and you had that an HD preamplifier is a project that took like 3 years to build and to design, it comes out to products that are expensive and that are in the luxury category, of course, and even our cheapest product, of course, is definitely a luxury item because you can listen to music with just a headphone and your iPhone anyway. So it's a difficult thing because if you want to have an ambitious system, you need to put together people that know how to do it.
Sorry to interrupt you. We're having an earthquake here.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh, the speakers are moving.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, I can see the, wow, it's very violent, right? Is the building safe?
Yes, it's safe because...
You don't look stressed.
Okay, so go on, sorry.
No problem, I'll take some water, sorry.
Okay, it's gone.
Wow, okay, I hope everything is fine.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Okay, that's good you cut me because I was anyway kind of lost on luxury. Yeah. Okay, I think maybe you will cut me before anyway the earthquake. Maybe it was a bit long, so I need just to catch up.
I mean, so some of the, because of people can think of an item luxury because of also the price, you know. I mean, having for example, a HD preamp, it's almost $60,000, and could fall in the luxury item. But I mean, how do we separate, or where is the borderline between quality and luxury? Because I think these times with this pandemic has show us that we can have many luxury items that we cannot use anymore. So I think uh, I could consider as a luxury having a good system in my house to enjoy it every day, every time we want, in the safe of our home, and enjoy music. That's if you love music and you listen to it with a system like Nagra, you will be happy 2 times.
Mm. Well, I think you should use your answer to this question because you sum it all. But I think it's maybe what's important in our business is that maybe some company or some brand sell expensive equipment, but maybe some customer when they acquire it, they don't think they have the value they expected because some luxury brand are, I don't speak especially about hi-fi, some just luxury brand, and there are many, some of them are offering better products than other, and in some instances you just pay essentially for the logo, and we all think about some fancy bags that are very trendy, where the logo maybe is more important than the build quality of the good. And I think this is very different for maybe the watch industry in Switzerland, or maybe the high-end industry, but even though there are good and bad examples. But I think it's important to see where the money goes. And I think maybe a luxury is to think that some people would spend months listening to the sound of condensers, like in a DAC-X, for instance, in the HD DAC-X. We've spent really weeks trying to find the right tuning for the sound, comparing different condenser technologies, so like Teflon condensers, V-Wax condensers, stain, or whatever technology was available. And we just spent weeks deciding, okay, is it faithful and truthful to the music, or is it going too much into details, and do these details really exist? I mean, and I think it's nice if you buy a product because you want to listen to good music and sound, to think that your money goes into the design and the construction and the test and the quality. And I hope this is the kind of luxury we should fight for, and not just trying to have expensive equipment to fit in a marketing niche, and which is a very different approach to the one we have, at least.
Yeah, that's why this interview and this series of interviews, it's important for me, because all the brands I represent in Mexico, I know the people behind the brand. I never bring a brand to Mexico where I don't know the person behind it and the philosophy and the way they do things. So I told you in a previous chat that we had that I was very proud to have Nagra as a representative in Mexico, because it's a brand with a lot of tradition, and the philosophy and the quality and the person, the people that's behind the brand, it's doing the things with the passion. And I mean, I know you, and I saw you in Munich, and we talk, and I know you are passionate about music and passionate about what you do. So it's very important that people go, when wants to buy something in terms of this business in audio, that should go and look at the history of the brand. How many years have they been in the business, and who is behind, and that the people still there. And I think that's important, because I've been in this business for 26 years, and I have seen so many brands come and go because it's only they want to do money from very fast money and with very high prices, and that's not the way it works in the long term.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And there are many companies that maybe I'm always surprised in Munich how many new companies are coming to high-end audio and how many go. Because I think there are a lot of people there, they have maybe investors and they can do like 4 or 5 new products in 1 year. And eventually, after a couple of years, they're gone because it's not a fast return on investment area. If you want a fast return on investment, there are many areas to go, maybe in the medical, in biotechnology, or in other area. If you go in the sound, you should be driven by passion, because for sure you'll never run out of passion for what you do. And even though we sell expensive product, doesn't mean you will necessarily earn money fast, because products are extremely expensive to design and to build. And then you need to design new products and keep the wheels turning. Mm-hmm. And so I think putting the asset into passion, I think, is a good thing. And that is a reward. I remember an interview of Sting, which is an artist I really love, who said that music was its own reward. And I think, yeah, you don't want to be a musician just to be a rock star and to be famous, because probably you'll never be really happy. But if you're a musician because you love playing music, you'll be happy because you will play music. And that's something given. You
that's
can play
true
music.
Artist.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the first reason we do hi-fi or equipment, we are very selfish, because somehow we do it for ourselves, because we really want to listen to that sound every day, and we are happy then to make it available to everyone. But really we came there, and I think it's true to many people, not just from our company, but you want to have those speakers, you need to design them and to build them, and because you need them for yourself, and eventually more people will like it and will choose to follow you, and that's very nice then when that happens.
Yeah, and before this pandemic, I saw Nagra was all over the world with the Nagra tours, and I think it went very well.
Yeah, we were lucky to. I mean, of course, we could not expect or foresee that we'll all be locked down in our home for so long. But we were lucky that all the major shows, like end of the season in Asia with the Tokyo show, we had a huge presentation in Korea. Then there was René was on tour in the US with the HD series. So we were lucky that we finished 2019 with many events and many shows, and we met a lot of people, and that was very nice. Then we were very disappointed that Munich had to be cancelled, because that's really for us like the highlight of the year, where we gather all our distributors and many of our dealers, and we meet also many end customers, which we don't meet every day because they are taken care of by the dealers. So that was for us a sad moment, even though I think it was a very good move from the organization to cancel the show well in advance, and we found all their exhibitors. I think they were extremely honest and good people to work with. So we hope now that there is a big uncertainty on the end of the year. Many shows have been postponed or cancelled. That will make it hard for the new products to be displayed and experimented by people. So we'll probably have to find other ways. And I think your your project is a good idea to, at least for our fans to get a chance to follow up and see what's going on in a different way.
I invite your followers and fans to go to the Instagram of Nagra, because it's very active, and there you can see many highlights of the tours and the products. And also,
Yes.
I have to get the new phono preamp soon.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. So I think somewhere in September it will be available. And actually, like 2 weeks ago, I had the chance to hear the latest version. So there were multiple prototypes. So actually, we were not really ready for Munich as was planned initially. But I have to say I was happy that we took a bit more time to fine-tune the product. And the last session we did here, it was a bit difficult because of the rules. We should not be too many in a room, like everybody around the globe. So we had to schedule listening where we were alone. Usually we are several people to make the listening session. Mm-hmm. And the last session, I could not focus on the technical questions that I had to answer because the song was so good. I was really just into the music, and every time I heard one track, I thought, oh, I didn't answer. I didn't pay attention to the specific sound things. I heard the music from start to end. Then I thought it's probably a sign that the work is done here. Now we can go to the production phase and do the classic phono.
I'm sure it's going to be a success, because the phono that's in the line right now, it's amazing. There it is, and it's a very good product. Yeah,
you can see it from here. Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Okay, so I would like to move to some more personal questions. I would like to ask you, what's your favorite soundtrack?
Movie soundtrack, you mean? Or
yeah, a movie soundtrack.
Okay, movie soundtrack. I think would be. Can I say two or just one?
No, you can say whatever you want.
Okay. Well, that's the Star Wars music from John Williams, and I was lucky to attend Return of the Jedi for my I think 11th birthday. The day of my birthday was a surprise from my father to take me in the theater when it was released. And then it was a huge shock for me, of course, to discover this universe. And I love John Williams, and I love, of course, Star Wars. And I was very lucky to visit the Skywalker Ranch in '99 and to see all those people that work on Star Wars and Titanic and so many movies. But I love movie. I watch a lot of movies, so it's hard to pick one. But I think Star Wars would be like the most iconic. Of course, probably an answer a lot of people would give, but I think I assume it.
I mean, I think John Williams, along with Ennio Morricone, are the most productive guys in the movie business.
Yeah, I love The Mission from Ennio Morricone. I think it's a very nice soundtrack too, and they're a very talented composer for music. It's amazing to see. It's a very interesting field right now.
Yeah. Okay, I have another question for you. If you could have a dinner with a music legend of any era, who would it be?
I think would be Mozart. Okay, maybe it's a bit classical answer, but yeah, of course, as a person, if I had the chance, I would be happy to meet him. Not necessarily that it's my favorite composer, but just that it's such a striking person and a striking time for music.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mozart would be nice to meet.
Great. Okay, what was your dream as a child?
Actually, I had several dreams, luckily, but one of them was to be a musician or a sound engineer. I was really into music very young, and I was fascinated by LP. I probably broke all my family turntables when I was 3, and for many years I could not get close to turntables because everybody would say, "Oh, you destroyed it when you were 3. Don't touch it anymore." So yeah, that's something that struck me when I was like 3, and I had my first small, those. It was an orange LP system. I was 4 years old, but a real one with the loudspeaker on top, and of course not a high-end one at all. But still, I loved it dearly and kept it many years. So for me, being at Nagra today is really being in a toy store as a kid every day. It's I'm very lucky to be here. And, it's really my passion.
Okay. And do you have a musical skill?
Well, I play drums. I learned a bit of percussion, but mostly drums. When I moved to Switzerland, I could not bring the drums. I was in an apartment, so I play a bit of guitar and bass guitar, but I'm not really any good at that. I really love playing the drums. It's such an immersive instrument, so powerful. When you get to play drums more and more, it's extremely addictive. It's like, I think somehow like a form of yoga as well, because it's something you play with your whole body. I don't have so much time to play anymore right now, but I miss it because it's been part of my life, especially as a teenager and a young adult. I would play really a lot, and then playing music, whatever the instrument, with other people is really such a nice communication and interaction thing. You can play music with people you don't even know, and then you get to know them somehow. It's a very special experience.
It's amazing. I can't imagine you as a drum player.
And you, or you can't?
I heard that you have something to do with wine.
Yes, yeah, of course. I think many audiophiles are also wine lovers, so it's a topic we often talk about, and I love wine as well. My father is from Burgundy, and one of his ancestors started to work in the vines in some middle of the 18th century, like 1750. And our family slowly became a winemaker, probably married a girl that had some vines, and then years after year, generation after generation, created a huge vineyards, which is called Matthieu Latour. And we are in Beaune, and the vineyards are mostly around Arlos Corton in Burgundy, and our family, it's still a family-owned company, which is one of the very few in Burgundy to still be family-owned. So the company was like founded in 1797, and so today the company is handled by my cousin, and he's like the 12th generation, and they do amazing wine. They have our own place to build the barrels. We do our own barrels. We have our own printing shop. So it's really much into the details and the very high expectation, and it's actually an area that's not so far away from what we do, because it involves the senses. It involves a great deal of methodology and also rules to follow. And then it's also about emotion and sharing, and like music is. So somehow I think it's not so far away from high end.
Yeah.
And but I was not myself. My father is an engineer, and he was the seventh child of 8, and so it was never a question that he would take care of the family business. So he really was very strong in science, and so he brought me many other things like music and sound engineering, electronics, and so I'm actually lucky I got to be in that technical universe, because it was very important for my dream as well.
Oh, that's great. There you see a passionate man. I think that was the wine we had at the party, Nagra party in Munich last year.
Yeah, it's kind of a tradition that I bring some wines when we do shows, and it's such. I mean, I think it's yeah. Many audiophiles, they like wine, or maybe they like also watches, or some of them like cigars
Food.
and
Good food.
good food as well. And I have to say, I like good food, and I like I like watches. I'm not so much into watches anymore, but and I'm not into cigar anymore since I'm married. I've stopped smoking cigars, but I love no, I love wine, and I love also the sharing a good moment. If you have good friends, some good wine and good music, I think I'm going to spend a very nice time, and I can remember all the wines I drank and all the wines we had in Munich all those years. And even though Munich is a place to have fantastic beers as well, so it's hard to not have beers when you're in Munich too.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me that time last year.
You're welcome.
So finally, I would like to ask you, how would you like to close this interview? Would you like to say something?
Well, I'd like to say, I'd like to say thank you first. I'm very happy. I was the first company to participate in that exciting experience and given the chance to talk about Nagra, and also about who I am and why I'm here. And also I want to say, I don't know when I will have the chance to join you in Mexico. But as I told you, it was my first business trip as a Nagra representative. And I remember extremely welcome to Mexico, and that was a good time for me. And also I met many people from the cinema industry at that time, and the music scene. I'll be very excited to meet audiophiles and music lovers, and to show them some of the Nagra gear and why we do that. So that would be a very privilege. And I think with the pandemic, we now realize how much it's a privilege to travel and to meet people and to shake hands. And so I hope that it has to be a dream for the time being, but I hope it's not such a long time to wait to do that.
I hope we can meet soon. We had a plan that you could come along with George from SME, and Stuart McNeil, also from SME. He told me that he wanted to come with you. And I hope we can do it next year, or at least meet in Munich.
Yeah. And also you were supposed to visit our factory, so I hope that it's an open invitation. So
I still have my ticket, so I will have
to go. You don't have to worry about canceling. You just use it whenever you want.
Okay, Matthew, it was a pleasure to talk with you, to know you better, and let our Nagra followers to know more about the brand, and also more from you, and to know that there is a lot of passion between the brand. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hope to see you soon.